Hey guys, welcome back to episode 202 of Five Drinks Through Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are sitting down with the legendary Jeffrey Morgenthaler. But before we get started, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you like what we're doing. Really help us push us in the algorithm. Let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us. Five Drinks Through Midnight. Five drinks, five questions, midnight, whatever comes first. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today, sir?
I'm great, Tim. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This is a huge
Thanks
honor.
for thinking of me, man.
This is great. And again, big fan. So thank you so much. Let's just dive right into it. Question one, what are we drinking first?
Coffee.
Coffee.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning here. It's 1 o'clock for you, but I'm on my second cup of decaf. We have some of the best coffee in the world here in Portland, Oregon, and I can't get enough. I'm
Very
like,
nice.
yeah, 2 to 3 decaf cafe au laits a day. I love it.
All right.
Yeah, I quit caffeine a few years ago, and I'm just still all about the flavor.
Excellent. Love it. Any specific brand, or you just don't care as long as it's
as it's good? I go to Stumptown every morning. Stumptown's like our big, they're the ones that kind of kicked off the, roasting, micro roaster movement in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they're still probably one of the best in town.
Excellent.
I go there every morning and get a cup. I've got, I can't remember that name. I've got another roaster not from Portland in my cupboard right now. Okay. Sometimes I like to explore different roasters from around the country. Sometimes when I travel internationally, I'll go to shops and grab a couple bags to take home. It's what I do now. Instead of bringing a suitcase full of like liquor, I have plenty of liquor. I don't need any more. Yeah. I'm trying to get rid of it quicker than it's coming in, and it's not really working.
Absolutely, yeah.
But coffee, I will drink. I will polish off bags of coffee very quickly.
Love it. Yeah, that clank in the suitcase is it really gives you away really quickly, doesn't it? Those glass bottles coming together and
I get the you can get these little inflatable
the bladders.
You know what I'm talking about, the clear.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just it goes around the bottle and you like pump it up and it goes. If I know I'm going somewhere and I'm definitely going to have to bring a bottle home of something, I'll bring one or two of those, and do a little,
there you go,
pump up, and bring those home. Cause I've rolled stuff up in jeans and stuffed them into boots and stuff, and they've still broken. I had a flight from, I had a very, very, very nice bottle of rum. I went to I was working Rumfest UK. This was like maybe 2010. And we flew from London to Helsinki for a trade show. And somebody, it might have been Ian Burrell himself, somebody gave me a very, very, I can't even remember what it was, very, very nice bottle of rum to take home. And I was very excited about it. Wrapped it up and everything, stuffed it, I did all the right things. And when I got to Helsinki, it had just like disintegrated. I mean, it was so shattered, it wasn't even recognizable. And all of my clothes were soaked in. I mean, they smelled great, right? Yeah. It just... beautiful, funky vanilla extracts, but I'm not doing that again. I'm getting the inflatable life jackets.
Everybody's like, oh, fuck, Jeffrey's been on a bender. He smells like fucking rum for like days.
Like rum, yeah, exactly. And what are you going to do when you're in a city, like a foreign city for like 2 days? You're there for 48 hours or whatever. Like, you going to have everything dry cleaned? You're going to go to a laundromat and take 4 hours? Like, what are you going to do? You just maybe wash a couple things in the sink and dry them on a towel rack and hope for the best.
Yeah, just got to, new clothes purchased.
Totally.
Well, question one is always an origin story. We know, like, if anybody wants to get into the bartending side of your origin story, they can go find that over and over again. Like you said, you're kind of sick of talking about that.
I started like everybody else, Yeah. It's not really that interesting.
What I really want to know is, how did you get into becoming a spirits author? So I guess really kind of what made you want to take up the pen and put down the shaker?
I've always been very interested in computers.
Okay.
I like to sort of like, that's like a hobby of mine. I like play computers. Like if you could see over here, there's a full like server rack
All
with
right.
a home media server. I'm just always fucking around with stuff. And I had built my own website. This
Okay.
was like this was like in the late 90s, right? Built my own website, had my own domain name, and I had uh, heard about blog. It was brand new, and so I
Gotcha.
installed some blog software on my website, and I just started putting pictures of like my pets and my travels, and then I started putting drink recipes on there, and I started getting visitors, and it blew up pretty quickly. Like it went from just a record of, yeah, I mean, it was like pre live journal kind of shit, right? Or maybe concurrent with live journal, where it's just
Yeah.
like people just put up like, here's a picture of my sandwich, and here's something I thought about today. It was like that level of writing,
Okay.
and I started sharing cocktail recipes from the bar I was working at, and pretty soon it was like kind of in demand. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. I mean, there were like maybe 10 cocktail blogs in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
and now I mean it's like everybody's a cocktail expert, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. What I forget what is it? The new one.
Substack.
Yes, that's it. Shit. Yeah. But everybody
Yeah.
is now on Substack writing about cocktails and just that. Yeah, they've gone from being a blogger to being now an
Actually
an
getting paid to do
author.
it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, that's so. Then, how did that lead into again writing books?
Well, I mean, at some point, especially back then when you've had, I had hundreds and hundreds of blog posts, I had hundreds of articles for various magazines and online outlets. And, at that point, like somebody's going to approach you. And I got approached. I had thought about doing a book, but I really, it was just kind of like, maybe one day I'll do. I didn't really think it was much of an option, you know. Turns out it is, and it's not as hard as you think, especially when you have, I've been writing for free,
Right.
and various magazines and stuff for like a decade at this point, probably. So it just made sense, when I got approached to do a book. I already had an idea. I already knew what it was that I wrote about because that's what I was doing. I was writing about technique.
That's awesome.
So it's not like somebody approached me and I had to sit and think like, what would I say? I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'll talk about. I'll talk about cocktail technique because nobody has done that before. Nobody has at this point has written about like how we as bartenders do the things that we do with our hands. There are like a million books about recipes. There are a
Right.
million books, let's say there are 100 million books about recipes, and there were a million books about ingredients. And there were zero books about technique. Like every cocktail book had like 4 pages in the beginning, and they're like, this is what a cocktail shaker is. You close it and then you shake this, you stir with a spoon. uh, you know you get a knife so you can cut garnishes, and that was pretty much it for instructions.
Right. Right.
And I was like, there's so much more to it. When I trained my staff and when I trained other staffs, that's all we did. We spent hours and hours and hours and days sometimes, like going through every single little thing. Like, how do we make simple syrup? How are we prepping garnishes? How are we shaking? I mean, are there different ways to shake? Yes. Are there some ways better than others? Yes. So it felt good to be the first one to like write all that down.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess what kind of keeps you excited with the cocktail community with all these years? Like again, being in the stick, training people, writing about it. Like how do you say excited?
Well, this has been my job for 30 years, but it's also been my hobby for about as long. My sort of three hobbies are probably like computer bullshit, cocktail bullshit, and food, and
Love it.
so when it's your hobby, I'm not going to say that when you do what you love you never work a day in your life, because some days it is work and it's really hard and it sucks. But the thing that keeps me excited is I just love this stuff. I look at Souther Teague. I think Souther is such an example for that guy loves this stuff, probably even maybe more than I do. He loves this stuff. He is very, and we've been doing it for almost the same amount of time. I think he might be even a little longer. I think he probably started in restaurants cooking before I started behind the bar. But when you just are into this stuff, that's what you do. And sometimes you take a day off or you take a few weeks off and you do some other things, but you always come back to it because it's fun.
I agree. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I have an art background, so went to art school, everything, and then kind of cocktails became just a passionate hobby. And again, in no way am I even close to being a bartender. Again, everybody asks me what I do for a living, and I'm like, I drink on the internet, and they don't quite fully understand that. And they're like, you mean you own a bar? And I'm like, no, I'm a terrible bartender. No one would ever pick me. But the point of I love designing stuff. I love designing booze things. And then, I love just drinking and tasting. And it's I'm right there with you.
It's fun.
And again, talking with Souther, Souther's always down to geek out. So that's always we end up, if I see him at an event or at a bar, we usually just geek out about something. So it's just, he's absolutely a true
he's a number one nerd in the nicest possible meaning of that, coming from a fellow nerd.
All right, well, there we go. Question 1: trains leaving the station. Good coffee. Cheers. Question 2: drink 2. What are we drinking?
Champagne.
Excellent.
I get people all the time, when I'm behind the bar or when I do interviews, always, one of the number one questions is, what do you drink? And I don't really drink that much anymore. There comes a time in your life where you just, So my answer isn't the same as it was, say, 20 years ago, where I was like, oh, I just got into Sazeracs or whatever the thing, right? But if I had my desert island drink, if I just had to consume one thing for the rest of my life, it would be champagne.
Okay.
And here's why champagne is the best drink. You can have it any time of day or night. It is socially acceptable to have a glass of champagne at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, at 5 p.m., at midnight, 3 a.m. Champagne is great. If you see someone, if you walk by let's say a cafe, right? Maybe you're in New York, you're in Paris, some cafe, some outdoor seating, and you see two people sitting there having a glass of champagne at 8 o'clock in the morning. Your first thought is, oh, that's really sweet. They must be celebrating something. Oh, that's really great. Now, if you saw the same two people drinking old fashions, you would immediately be like, let's cross the street. Those are two horrible alcoholics. We've got to get away. They might be dangerous.
Don't want to get near that riffraff.
Drinking barrel-proof rye at 3 o'clock in the morning, not a good idea. Not a good idea.
Nope.
Glass of champagne, though? Don't mind if I do.
Perfect.
Don't mind if I do. And I like the coupe. I think a coupe is just a delightful way to enjoy. I almost poured mine into a coupe for this.
See, and that's I was just trying to be fancy and impressed, because I was like, oh man, I don't know if I should do do we do a champagne flute? But then I couldn't find my flutes.
No,
so
flutes.
Then I was like,
flutes are bullshit. Toss the flutes. Get rid of the flutes. Flutes are dumb.
Yeah.
Put it in a coupe if you're feeling fun and festive and fancy. throw it in a wine glass if you're just having a regular, glass of champagne with a meal or whatever. You can smell it. You can. Flutes are dumb.
Yeah,
I'm anti-flute. I've been anti-flute for years.
Same. I'm not a big flute guy, but when we interviewed Mr. Lyon, Chetty talked about he uses flutes for Guinness, and he was like,
I like that.
And honest, and he goes, and there's no other rhyme or reason because that's just all we had when we were fucking popping tinnies. And he was like, so that's it. And now that's the only way I kind of like a Guinness is now out of a flute. So like a flute and a shot of Guinness or a shot of whiskey with your flute of Guinness. It's the best thing in the world. So
we need a 16 or 20 ounce Guinness flute size, like those proportions, right? Like this, but like this wide, instead of this and this. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Ryan. Ryan's just the best.
Yeah, he was so cool. Like, yeah, it was again good company. I'm always in with good company like yourself. So
hell yeah.
So cheers again.
Yeah, it's just that's when people ask me what I drink, when I'm having a drink, it's usually champagne or sparkling, Cremant or Cava or whatever. When people ask me what my favorite cocktail is, though, I always have to answer shrimp cocktail because I really think that shrimp cocktail is the best cocktail. I mean, I love a martini, I love a Sazerac, I love a daiquiri, and but I don't think we've come close to perfecting a liquid beverage in the way that we have a shrimp cocktail. That's
I'm gonna steal that. That is, I agree. That is fucking brilliant. That is
the best. That's the best cocktail. Yeah, I mean, martini, old fashioned, close seconds, but shrimp cocktail, #1 best cocktail of all time.
I agree with you. That is.
And fruit cocktail, number 1 worst cocktail of all time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
too much sugar, too much syrup. Yeah, that's
a bunch of garbage in a can. Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, I'll take. I'd drink a Vieux Carré before I'd eat a fruit cocktail, and I hate a Vieux Carré. That is a disgusting drink.
So worst cocktail, fruit cocktail being the worst, Vieux Carré second to worst.
Pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. How do you like to open? Not question 2, but like, how do you like to open your champagne? Because I'm a sucker for when I see a champagne bottle, I usually have to saber it. So like I'm just.
I have my own branded saber that I did with Cocktail Kingdom, and it is. I did this beautiful. I just have to show you because I'm just so proud of this beautiful saber that I did with Cocktail Kingdom. Angle your champagne saber, and then just right through in one fluid motion.
No bullshit. Big fan.
Hey, all right. Yeah. This thing, just the heft of this thing, and it's so smooth, and I love popping bottles. I have had some unfortunate. I've shattered some. Just if you saber as many bottles as I do, you're gonna lose 1 or 2. So I only use this. I use this on New Year's Eve. I usually stand on top of the bar, and people will pull the cages off of bottles, and I'll just do an entire case of like Cremant. Fire it into the wall and just like start handing bottles out. But when I have like a really nice bottle, but I don't like the, I was trained in a French restaurant, the champagne, they say it should be as quiet as a nun farting in church, which is a really dumb, just gross thing to say. But, that you're supposed to like really, when I order a bottle of champagne, I want a full on pop. I want everybody in the restaurant to know that we're drinking, we're opening a bottle. I don't like this like, so let's just rip the lid off those and not talk about people farting.
I think it's called the French fart is what the opening that like champagne, like it's supposed to just make a little like thing, and it's
I don't like it at all. Yeah,
not a fan. I use this. This is probably out of majority of my barware equipment. I use this Beaver Tree bottles, pop. Coke bottles, pop. Like I pop just about everything I possibly can.
I
This
love
is
to hear that. I love to
just
hear that. That's
so
amazing.
fucking good. Like that, yeah, that is fucking love that. So there we go.
That's amazing. I love that.
But all right, so question 2.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that you have a gift for taking ugly duckling cocktails and turning them into swans. What is your approach or what draws you to the underdog cocktail?
First of all, let's talk about this idea of ugly duckling cocktails and the idea that there are bad cocktails and good cocktails. Um, that is exactly what I set out to change with Amaretto Sour. I mean, a lot of people, like, you really have to understand that back in the mid 2000s, 2007, 2008, 2009, cocktail culture was getting a lot of traction. There were a lot of articles being written. And it seemed like every paper had some article on the guy in town, whatever town it was, the first guy in Kansas City, the guy from Sacramento, California, the guy from Spokane. And this guy, it's always a guy for some reason, this asshole takes cocktails so seriously that he says if you walk into his bar and try to order a Long Island, an Amaretto Sour, Midori Sour, Pina Colada, whatever, he will politely ask you to leave because that's not what we do here. We are taking cocktails seriously. We're making pre-Prohibition and Prohibition era classics. We don't have time for any of this fucking horse shit that you think is good. And I didn't grow up that way. Like grow up in the business, right? I started in the 90s, right? I love an Amaretto Sour. Amaretto Sour Mix, Amaretto and Sour Mix. I drank that in college. Fucking delicious. So this idea that that these cocktails were bad and now they were not allowed to be consumed, ordered, we're going to look down on you, blah, 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 was just very foreign to me and antithetical to the idea of hospitality. And I thought, you know what? Why not just make it? Why not just do your fucking job and make it really well, right?
Sure.
So, obviously, Amaretto Sour. We're not going to use sour mix, from the gun or from the plastic jug. That's truly gross.
Yeah.
But we are going to use some fresh lemon juice. Problem is, you can't balance Amaretto with fresh lemon juice perfectly because once you get enough sour in there to override the sweet, you've lost all of the strength. You've lost all of the flavor, right? It's just the drink is flat. You're drinking 1.5 ounces of lemon juice to 2 ounces of amaretto, and it's just not. It doesn't taste good. You've balanced it between sweet and sour, but you haven't balanced it between strong and weak. So I just had the idea, cask strength bourbon, right? Whiskey and amaretto been a natural pairing forever. Cask strength, we could just use a little tiny bit of it and really get that proof up, and really make the whole thing sing. And from there, it was just let's add a little bit of egg white and then let's balance it out with a little, teaspoon, 5 milliliters of simple syrup. And it's just nice. And that kind of opened the door, I think, for a lot, people coming from me at the time, because I was, I had done the blog, I was running, Clyde Common, very famous restaurant bar. I had sort of the authority to say, but the authority to say fuck that, this is good, and you could see people that were sort of oh, wow, so it's okay to drink that, which, yeah, it's totally okay. It's more than okay. In fact, that guy that told you that you can't is a piece of shit and also doesn't know how to make a good drink. So fuck that guy. Exactly. And I feel like that changed. I feel like that had a small hand in changing the culture in some ways,
That's fucking awesome.
People were just oh, so, when we opened Pepe La Moko in 2014, February of 2014, that initial menu was Amaretto Sours, Long Islands. I put an espresso martini on the menu in 2014 and everybody thought I was completely insane. That's the most 90, it's not even a martini. A martini is gin and vermouth, and maybe bitters. You can't put an espresso martini on there. I was look, there's a coffee shop upstairs called Stumptown. They just released their cold brew extract concentrate. It's wonderful in an espresso martini. We're going to make it really well. We're going to put like a little bit of lemon oil there. It's just going to be a beautiful drink. And we had Blue Hawaii. We had just all these like really fun drinks. And I think that helped in some small way move cocktail culture out of this snotty mixologist
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree.
Mode.
I totally agree. Like again, it's so funny. Like you ask, a bartender, like what is their favorite drink, and so many times people will come back like and say some of the weirdest like drinks that you would not expect. Like Ivy Mix loves the fucking pina colada at Long Island Bar. Like everybody goes to get the pina colada.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to like that. Like or culture says, but yeah. Everybody's going to get the fucking pina colada, and like that's and
again, fun drinks are fun and they're delicious. Like it's a twofer. I've always said that if I was running a cocktail bar where everybody was just sitting quietly and like smelling their drink, and talking about cocktails, that it's an absolute failure of a bar. But when I run a bar and it is just packed full of people just chugging fun, awesome, and it's not like all of our drinks are Amaretto Sours and Long Islands, but it's just like I like to see the whole canon represented on my cocktail menu. I got something for the nerds that want like a brown, bitter, and stirred drink, and I got something for the kids and the old people. Like let's get everybody in there. Let's have a group of 20 somethings just partying next to like two people celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary.
That absolutely. But don't you think don't you feel like that's kind of the way that the industry is kind of swinging right now? It's like that, like it's
great.
The kids that are doing it to be kind of ironic. And again, kids aren't out drinking anymore, so again, everybody's going to fail, which is bullshit. But you have the people that are drinking kind of like the pina coladas, and then there's like the like my grandpa that still he still has his martini up, but like he loves a really good fucking grasshopper. So like that.
Oh God, who doesn't? That was the other thing on our opening menu, that Wisconsin style blended ice cream grasshopper.
Can't go wrong.
Sold like a million of them.
And I mean, I know too, like we kind of talked about, and I feel like this goes back into that question about sharing recipes, and that idea of, everybody being so precious and gatekeeping with their recipes, and you put everything out there. Like, I mean, you are like full on. We can go to your site and just get a shit ton of
if I haven't put it out in the world yet, and that's probably just because I've forgotten to put it out in the world yet, and someone reminds me like, hey, that drink that was on your menu, like I can't find it anywhere, I'm like, oh shit, let's get that on the website so you can have it. Like, I really don't like that gatekeeping bullshit at all, and it still goes on. With a lot of my peers, a lot of famous bartenders, perfect example. I was recently given a rotovap. By a company called Ecodist, ECODYST. And they just wanted me to play around with it and, do some experimenting. And I didn't even know where to start, because that's a very, very complicated piece of equipment. And I reached out to some of my peers, that I know or I know how to use one of those, with just some like, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure this thing out. Could you, anything you can do? Like, do you have any books you recommend? Like, honestly, like if you have any sort of like recipes that I could get started with, because it's sort of like it's like learning how to play music, right? Like you start by like just like copying. I don't really play music. I used to play music. I used to play guitar in college because everybody did, but it's like you learn by like sort of imitating the people who did it great, and then you sort of develop your own style, right? So I thought this would be really handy, like if if you could send me a couple recipes, that would be so cool. And the only person that that helped me and came through in a totally transparent way was LP O'Brien.
Oh, wow.
And she just like was like, do this. Here's some recipe, you know, just like totally hooked me up. And I was like, I'm glad that there's somebody out there that's still, you know, still not gatekeeping like me.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. It's a big
Yeah.
bummer when you see it, and it
Yeah.
still exists, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Question 2.
Beautiful.
Cheers. So, question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
You know, this was nice. This was like the first. This is like probably one of the first like man-made beverages I've ever had. You know, like, I like love the balance, the flavors. I mean, it is such a singular beverage. It is so. I mean, all of the shitty like globalization and everything aside, like it is maybe one like the world's most perfect man-made beverages. I mean, there's a reason why it's number 1 in almost every country in the world. You know, it's fucking amazing. You know, and we'll get to that with the next drink, but it does play into the drink number 4.
All right.
Yeah, I just love it. I've always have, you know, I these days I have like maybe a Coke a year. Like I probably won't even finish this. You know, I'm just like a little more health conscious. You know, I want to try to save my sugar calories for other things.
Well, and again, you said you gave up caffeine, so I was like, oh, all right.
And I gave up caffeine. Yeah.
So now
one Coke these days might send me over the edge.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you're going to be pretty much wired and walking around the house tonight. It's going to be my fault. Like, I feel bad now. I mean, like, oh, but, well, I hope it doesn't take too much effect out of you. And again,
nah, I'll be fine.
But all right. So, question 3 comes from our mutual friend Frank. And when we try to reach out to guests that have been on the show before, just to, mutual friends. And since Frank hooked us up to make this happen,
Yeah.
Frank wants to know, when's the next book coming out?
No, I'm currently working on a proposal with a friend of mine.
Excellent.
That is all I can say.
All right.
Yeah. The proposal process, it's moving a little slow. This is like a fairly intense proposal. It's a kind of book that's never really been done before. So, there's going to be a lot of, you have to really paint a picture for, you just can't for something like this. You can't just do an elevator pitch. It's going to be a book about, it's going to be a book about tequila. Like, okay. It's going to be more in depth. So, and, this has been a busy time of year for both of us. So we're moving slowly, but we're working on it. We'll get there.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, I want to keep doing books for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a long, painful, horrible process, but it's also rewarding to have a fucking book with your name on it. Like, I'm looking at I've got some of my friends' books here. This is Caitlin Stewart's 3 Cheers, Michael Madrison's Cocktail Companion.
The show as well. That's a fucking tome. I love that book. It's just beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. He's not around to enjoy this, but Sasha Petrosky's book.
Yeah.
I got the Whiskey Bible sitting next to my desk. Of course, Noah Rothbaum and Stanislav's. I don't know if you've read this, but the Cocktail Balance. This is the 2.0 version. Fantastic book. You're not going to be able to pick it up on Amazon. Take a note of that. Go to his website and order that book. It is one of the best books of the past decade on cocktails. A lot of stuff in there about service. A lot of stuff in there about just balance and how we craft cocktails. There's a lot of technique stuff. It's very, very cool.
Awesome. Wow,
yeah, I'm a big fanboy. I'm just a big fanboy of, like, whenever I know I'm going to be somewhere and somebody that wrote a book that I have in my collection is going to be there, I always bring it and get a little,
Same, same.
Yeah,
That's
always.
uh there's the speed rack book with all the contestants of speed rack. So now like that used to be kind of like my yearbook of like walking out, and like that would always be in my bag. So in case I came across somebody from speed rack, I'd always be like, will you please sign my book? Like that is
Totally.
the like
Yep.
that's the
Totally.
we talked briefly about the fruit cocktail being the worst cocktail.
Yeah.
Is there a cocktail again? You brought back the Amaretto Sour. That you're everywhere right now for your eggnog recipe, which we'll have on question 5. But like,
no spoilers.
is there a cocktail out there that you think deserves a revival?
A revival. I don't know about that. I mean, I think that we've dug pretty deep into the canon by now. It used to be 20 years ago, there were cocktails that nobody had heard of in 50 years. Like
Right.
literally, no, like everyone that had that cocktail was dead. Yeah. And so we were like discovering, but I feel like with the internet and just how big cocktail culture has gotten, bar culture has gotten, I don't know if there are any stones that are unturned. I certainly
Right.
think of categories of drink that I appreciate and wish more people appreciate. You talked about the blended ice cream grasshopper. Blended ice cream cocktails I love, obviously.
I wish more people just had a blender behind the bar. I know that
They're a pain in the ass. It's not the blender, it's the fucking ice cream that's the pain in the ass. But they're so good.
Yeah.
I wish that maybe not cocktail wise, but I wish that like we were doing more cocktail parties.
Okay.
I wish we turned our Thanksgiving into a cocktail party.
Nice.
We had 4 of us had dinner. We had wine. We started with cocktails, and then a bunch of people came over, and we just like ripped the lid off. I had a bunch of cocktails in the freezer, and we were just pulling them out, pouring them into, had a little bar cart with some glasses on there. I completely emptied out our freezer because, I'm a big cook, and so my freezer is full of stocks and things like that. Took everything, put them in the garage freezer, and just filled it with ice and chilled glassware and freezer martinis and a special weird kind of Manhattan that I'm gonna hopefully record a video about soon. And just a bunch of fun drinks. and we were all dressed up, and we just had a cocktail party. And I just believe in like let's get that going again. Like let's have a bunch of people over to the house and just like drink fucking cocktails in like a fancy, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Put on a goddamn suit and drink a martini.
Damn right.
There's nothing that like it's the best feeling. Like have a glass of shit. Be walking around in a black suit with a black tie, drinking a glass of fucking champagne.
Fucking love it.
It's the best.
Yes.
It's the best. I was in San Francisco. I was hosting the San Francisco World Spirits Competition awards gala. And so I brought my tuxedo, and we were all, it was black tie, so we were all in tuxes. And then at the end of the night, we all went to Specs. They're like one of the most amazing, old bar. Do you know Specs in San Francisco?
Yep.
Yeah. So all the judges, we're all there, and we're all in tuxedos and black sequin dresses, and we're all just like, drinking whiskey and Miller High Life and toasting, and just like we got the ties undone, and we are just like, just get dressed up and have a fucking party.
That is awesome.
It's the best.
That is. I agree. I think that having the cocktail party needs to come back.
Like we have access to all the cocktails. Everybody's drinking all the cocktails kind of all the time. If I said nobody's drinking the blank, there'd be a whole bunch of people that are like, we all drink that drink all the time.
Exactly.
But I think there are occasions and styles of drinking that we should definitely be bringing back, and the cocktail party is one of them.
I agree. You kind of mentioned it. Can we ask what are your freezer door martinis specs?
Oh, I'm a 5-to-1 guy, always martini. I don't, and
not fucking around, right?
I'm not fucking around. I also just I don't believe in any other ratio. I don't like, I think, and this is going to piss a lot of people off. I think an equal parts martini is fucking gross, personally.
Okay.
It's flabby and weird. I don't even like a 2-to-1. I think it's kind of flabby and weird. I don't like a reverse martini. It's flabby. I want a crisp, bone dry, little bit of the right amount of vermouth. I usually want Beefeater, maybe Tank 10.
Okay.
I want a classic London dry. I actually, on one hand, I'm very bummed that Beefeater has dropped down to 80 proof in the past, 5-10 years. Yep. On the other hand, as a martini drinker, I'm kind of glad because it does make for a nice lower proof martini.
Very nice.
So, and then I actually just plug them into, I have this batch calculator online. I've got a whole series of like web calculators that you can use on your phone. And I just plug in the my 5-to-1 martini into the batch calculator and press calculate with the 18% dilution ratio, and it spits out just an amazing 750 freezer martini recipe, and I just go with that.
Very nice.
Yeah, throw some lemon twists on top of it, and we are just ripping the lid off.
Fucking love it. All right. Well, there we go. Question 3.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, scotch. It just says scotch.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Just good old scotch. Yeah. What do you got there?
Got a little compass box.
I have. I recently did. Yeah, compass box is delicious. Oh my god. Recently did my friend Tristan Stevenson's podcast, and our mutual friend Craig Harper was supposed to be hanging out with us. This was in London, and he couldn't make it, but he did leave me his banana flask full of delicious whiskey, and I can't remember what it is, but it is absolutely incredible.
Love it.
I want to say it's like a Glenfarclas 18 or something, but
very nice.
But
it comes in a banana.
The most beautiful flask ever. So there's a little toast to Craig Harper here. Yeah, scotch was the first alcoholic beverage I ever had.
Okay.
I was a big, and still am, big Beatles fan when I was a kid. And I had read that the Beatles' drink of choice in the early days was a whiskey Coke. And of course, that meant scotch and Coke.
Gotcha. Yep. There you
and my parents, they were born in the 40s, grew up in the 50s and 60s, and they were, married and hosting cocktail parties in the 70s. So the way they drank was they liked mudslides and B-52s and, sweet drinks. And they had a friend who would always give them every Christmas a really nice bottle of single malt scotch. This is like in the 80s.
Okay.
And they would say thank you, and then they would push it into the back of the liquor cabinet. So there were all these bottles of, and I wanted to try some alcohol. And, I was like 16.
Sure.
17. And I certainly, if I had like gotten into the vodka or the Baileys or the Kahlua, they would have known.
Right. Because the first
that something's missing. But if you hit the Glenfiddich 15, they're not going to know. So my first alcoholic beverage was probably like a Glenlivet 18 or a Glenfiddich 15 or something, and Coca-Cola.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck. I mean, that's also brave on you going for a scotch for your first kind of pour. Like,
and you know what? Like a scotch and Coke is really delicious. And when you go to Scotland, and you hang out with the distillers there, you go to single malt distilleries and you hang out with the distillers after hours. They're not sipping their scotch. They're beautiful 18-year-old scotch neat. They are mixing it almost always with Coke or ginger ale. Sometimes 7-Up, sometimes lemonade. And you know what? It's a wonderful mixed beverage.
But I just love that. That is
so good. I just love Scotch whiskey. It's my favorite.
Is that kind of your brown liquor of choice? I mean, I know you're a big tequila guy, but like, is a Scotch kind of your brown liquor of choice?
My first love for sure. Yeah. Scotch whiskey. whether they're single malts or blends. I mean, I think, if I sometimes will like kind of do my top 10 whiskeys list with friends, and right near the top is always Johnny Walker Black Label.
Okay.
One of the greatest whiskeys still to this day ever made.
Question 4. You said being a bartender is part craft, part empathy, part engineering. What's something people underestimate about the emotional part of the job?
Oh, the emotional part. I mean, if you want to do it right and you want to form some sort of connection with everybody, and I mean, that's part of the job, is just, a lot of human connection. It's more than just making fancy cocktails. You're gonna take some of that home with you. I mean, you're gonna you have to. And so, every I mean, especially me, like, I'm pretty sensitive to this stuff. Like uh, every bad word, every mean, comment, like it sits with you for a long, 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 long time, sometimes forever, you know. And that's really hard. Like the way that people treat people in the service industry
Yep.
can be really. It's these are like, we take this stuff home with us.
Yeah.
We all, almost all of us do. I've known a few people that like just can just just brush it off and not worry about it. But like, it's really, really, really fucking hard.
I agree. It is a very hard job. Like, it just, I mean, even physically, but emotionally, like
Mm-hmm.
my human battery drains very quickly when I'm just sitting in a bar and like just listening to people talk, and like for someone being a bartender and having to be on all the time, like it's a very, I want to say thankless job, but it's a very, like, again, very appreciative job to the people that get it. But yeah, it's a very hard job.
It really is, and uh, I'm an introvert, so I'm sapped by the end of a shift. I got nothing left to give.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't do anything. I can only go home and sit and like stare at my phone or stare at the bottom of a glass or stare at a like I just can't,
Yep.
I can't participate anymore. I don't have anything left.
But I also think that's what also makes someone a really great bartender as well.
Yep.
Like it's a weird double-edged sword, because
Yeah, and
again,
you end up to be a really great bartender. You end up giving um, a lot of yourself, sometimes even more than you receive. You
yeah,
know, and that's tough. That's really
I
tough.
agree. And that's why kids
Um,
always tip your bartender.
yeah, and also even more important, tipping is in this country is incredibly important. Many countries, it's really important. But being a decent fucking human being goes even further. You know.
Yeah.
Um, that is really becoming increasingly difficult to come by. And
Yes.
that's um, just patience and kindness and thankfulness on the side of the guest is goes a long way,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
most people aren't doing that.
Well, there we go. Question 4. There we go. Cheers.
So I poured myself the tiniest little itsy bitsy glass of
Oh,
eggnog because I still got work to do today.
very nice. Well, I can
Um,
write you a doctor's note if you need one. Just not that kind of doctor, but it's illegal
I'm
for them.
self-employed. I can't. There's nobody to call in sick to.
Ah, very nice. Well, I'll just drink for 2 then.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Made that last night, so I hope, like, I got the recipe from your site, so like that did the brandy and rum. So I hope
Yeah,
does that the
that's great. I'm drinking the tequila sherry version.
oh, very nice. See, I should have went that route, but
Mm. The brandy and rum one is really great too. I mean, the thing about that eggnog that was both those eggnogs that was, um, I don't know, like maybe a little bit like revolutionary at the time, was the fact that it can be made in a blender. You know, Um, I've always loved eggnog. Ever since I was a kid, I loved the stuff in a carton. Still do, honestly. I only go to Starbucks once a year, and that's to get an eggnog latte.
Gotcha.
Just love the flavor of eggnog.
Okay.
Uh, when I was like looking into making like grown-up eggnog, so many of those recipes were like you got to separate the eggs and you got to beat the whites and you got to make the yolks into a sort of custard and you got to fold it in and all this kind of stuff. And if you look at the kind of earliest published, well, if you just look at the Jerry Thomas guide and you
Yeah.
look at eggnog, it's just a flip, which is a flip is spirit, whole egg, sugar, dusted with nutmeg, right? Shaken. You throw the whole thing into a minus the nutmeg. You throw everything into a shaker. You shake the shit out of it. You strain it. You dust it with egg or with nutmeg, and then there's eggnog, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there's no cooking. There's no separating. There's no nothing. It's just and so that's a flip. Eggnog is just that plus cream,
Right.
right? Cream, milk, half and half. I
Yep.
think half and half is kind of the ideal ratio there. But and so it to me it was just like, well, then why are we doing all this like separating and whipping and cooking and all this kind of custarding and all this kind of shit? And I thought, if you want to make a big batch of it, why wouldn't you just do it in a blender?
Yep.
Take the put it on low, add the sugar, add the booze. Now you've got a half gallon or a quart or whatever, however big your blender is. I've got a Vitamix, so I've got a half gallon cup on
Yeah.
my blender. And it really kind of took off. Like it the New York Times like picked up on it, because it was so like sort of like wild and out there that you could just make a batch of eggnog in a blender. It's in the New York Times cookbook, my
Yep.
eggnog recipe. And I just love the texture of this so much more than like that thick kind of goopy,
Yep.
I just don't want to drink like paste.
Yeah. Well, that's when I made this last night, so I made it ahead of time, and like just again in the blender, it was amazing. It was super easy to make. Like that was
Super
just
easy.
yeah. It's fucking looks delicious. Cheers.
Big eggnog fan. Cheers.
Oh yeah, that is fucking delicious.
Yeah, fuck separating your eggs. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so many people get so freaked out about just either egg whites or a whole egg in a drink, and it really like
You're fine. You're fine.
yeah.
There's booze in there. You're fine.
Yeah,
It's
the
all good.
sugar, you'll be fine. Yeah,
You're totally
don't.
fine. Yeah, and age it. Sit on it. Put it in the back of your fridge. Open it up the next year.
Yeah, you're good. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's right. I'm going to do the tequila and sherry, and just that's going to be Christmas for sure. So
Yeah, definitely. We usually make a few blenders full
yeah,
during the holidays, during that stretch of like the week before Thanksgiving and all the way
yeah,
into New Year's at home, and then of course the bar sells something like 50 gallons of it a year.
like,
It's
like that.
yeah,
Like
just tons.
growing up, were you just a big eggnog fan, or was it
I
just
love it.
big in the family? Like,
I just love it. My mom would get the stuff in the carton, and she would have to like keep me away from it. I just
okay,
wanted it so bad. I just love the way it tastes. It tastes like Christmas. And I'll still go buy a carton of it, and have that at home and drink that. I just love the flavor. It's just one of the best things. Salt and Straw did an ice cream version of my tequila sherry eggnog. Years ago. I think they still kind of do it around the holidays. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I'll eat a pint of that. Like, I just love eggnog flavor. It's just the best.
yeah. All right. Well, question 5 comes down to the flip of the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. The coin will give us the answer. One side says fuck yeah, one side says fuck no.
Okay.
If you flip it, please be careful to catch it. I don't know what your table is.
I'm going to spin it. Yeah.
Spin it.
There's too much glass around me.
Question 5. It's just a silly way to end the night. So again, no really booze questions or anything. But question 5. Have you been good enough for Santa to come visit this year?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. I'm always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost always good.
It's always good. Oh, well, there we go. I mean,
What do I
looks like
what do I do with this?
you can just flip it. I mean, one side says fuck yeah, one says fuck no. So if you want to spin it, just see what the coin has to say.
Oh. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right.
See, I
Santa's
knew
coming to the Morgenthaler house. So there
I knew it. I knew it. Yeah.
Jerry, that's 5 drinks down, 5 questions answered. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
I
you,
really
Tim.
appreciate your
Yeah.
time. This has been awesome. I
For
really
me as
hope we
well.
can drink together in person soon. So if you're
I
ever
do
in New
too.
York, please let me know.
I
And
absolutely will.
cheers to you and happy holidays.
Cheers to you and happy holidays, Tim. Thank you so much.